We are doing something new. I wouldn't say it's really new. I haven't done it in a while. Let's do one of these little chats here. Let's see. By the way, mug, get it? Stream Elements, my merchandise. Check. You can click on the about section, and you can see the link to it there. Stream Elements. We also have the Redbubble store going. If you want to check that out as well. I have to talk about. God, this house is so old, so much stuff. I just cleaned this not even 20 minutes ago. I got to talk about something, and it's not something that is so easily discussed. And the reason for that being not so easily discussed is because there is a great majority of people that don't read anything religious text, or they never have. And they just go off of what they read on TV. They go off of what they've read on Twitter. They go off of what they've heard on Twitch. They go off of what they've heard on YouTube. Or they go off of what they've simply heard in the news, instead of being out there and have experienced it themselves in real life, outside of these platforms and media sources, to actually be out there in the world and experience it and see it with your own eyes, the truth. And here's the funny thing about the truth, is that it is different for every person because of their perspective, the way they were raised, the type of people they surround themselves with, that mindset gets embedded into their way of thinking to where they cannot see past the forest, the trees in front of the forest, whatever. Okay? Can't see past the very first field of view in front of them. They can't see into the depth of truth. I'm going to go back to a point way back in 1993. And we're going to go off to the time when I was in high school. And I was, let's say, at this particular point in time in the early 90s, my dad was a zealot Christian. Okay, he had his own church. We hammered it down my. Basically, the Bible was pretty much shoved down my throat to the point in that it had to be that way. But my problem living with our family at that time was that there was just something. It felt like the approach was wrong. It felt like, that it was being forced upon me. Now, I can understand why growing up, because when I was younger, I had a very serious case of ADHD and a learning disability. So it was something of a challenge with my parents, somewhat relatively new, as it were, being engaged, that they. But the things that I grew up with was basically, basically everything was surrounding the stories, like growing up in Sunday school, knowing the art, the Ten Commandments, the Samson and Delilah, you know, the whole story of Jesus' life and all that. That was always the main thing year after year after year. Eventually, for me, as a person that likes things interesting, I didn't realize this about myself at the time, though. I got bored of it. Right? It was like, okay, I'm tired of this now. Give me something else. That's how my brain was working, but that's not how I was. I was being rebellious at the time because I was tired of it. But you can see me come. And my shirt. That's my first channel shirt, by the way. So, you know what? Let me see if I can adjust my camera here. See if we can fix this. Give some distance, maybe. Can we do that? No, again, okay. I guess we can't. We're gonna be just doing it that way. It's fine. It's whatever. It's just whatever. Leave it at that. We'll just leave it at that. Have to adjust things a little bit later. So okay. So problem that is so what are we talking about? This is that's pretty every this is called Benediction di Dinero al Hogar Frutos Indios, especially India, aromatizante, whatever that fuck that means. Oh, here's the English part of it. Money blessing. Indian fruit. I love the smell of it. So growing up, okay, having all of this information being processed into my brain, right? Okay, being the rebellious person I was, you know, and I was rebelling in a way of information to where I wanted to know more information of other things. This over here says this is a lie. I want to go over here where this lie is because I want to see what this lie is all about, right? So start off with Wicca. You know, go from Wicca, going into learning about the Hinduism, going to learning about the Muslims, going to learning about any other religion that is pretty much out there that is the opposite of Christianity. Okay, I decided to read, to be around some people, to speak with them, and see how they were. At the end of the day, you know, when you put religion in the forefront of your life as your way of life, you are no different than somebody that is calling their race better than somebody else's race. Okay, that's my personal opinion. At the end of the day, we look back into history. I look back into history of the creation of these continents, okay, and the people, right? And I learned this in science class, oddly enough, in elementary school. And of course, over that entry, a lot of things in dealing with archaeology and the history of plate tectonics and the different cultures, how they spread throughout the world, intrigued me a great deal because it was the one thing that was not taught in church, but yet you learned it in school. And yet, oddly enough, scriptures backed up what you learned in school as truth. Ah, imagine that. Yeah. So, when you think back to a time when the entire world was one giant, okay, the population of humanity began to grow, but diversity also began to grow because of different ways of, you know, thinking. different ways of showing your things. Jealousy began to take apart, and we won't go into that because that's going into the lessons of morality. Okay, let's not go there right now. But the more the humanity grew, the more, okay, their ways of worship began to be very diverse as well. Okay. One day, there was this big, huge earthquake, and this was during the time when the biggest, we're gonna say that there was a story of the Tower of Babel. Okay, but I don't think there was any evidence. I can't remember. I haven't seen any evidence of the actual Tower of Babel. I'm thinking it was a story and a metaphor. Tower of Babel having to do with the culture of the people and them considering themselves to be so smart, so intelligent, that they would continue to study and study and study and gain greater heights of knowledge than anybody else around them, to a point that they were so smart and so industrious and technologically advanced, from building to whatever, and being resourceful to everything around them, that eventually at some point in time something happened and they did not prepare themselves for it. Now, in religion, it is saying that the Tower of Babel was where people grew this tower so tall but to get up into the heavens, right? But the gods were not happy with that and decided they were going to confound their languages, meaning that no longer did anybody speak the exact same language. Okay, that the tower was caused, was caused it wasn't caused to fall, but because people were doing too well and getting too smart, and they were getting too technologically advanced or whatever to that particular point in time, their languages became confounded. So have all of a sudden all these dialects came into being, right? But then this is the very first recording of the earthquake in the Bible. Okay. Now, think about that for a moment. Thousands, if not millions, of people. A great earthquake. And suddenly, all of these people being split up to these different masses of lands and just totally spread apart over time, further and further and further apart. How many times have we seen earthquakes in our time where an earthquake lasts for so long? You have this, maybe you could have a 10-foot gap, maybe 20-foot gap between one or the other, and things, and just like this. Okay, and now you have a people trying to figure out a way to work together. But the problem is, I don't think it worked that way. What I think is that this was during the point in time where not only did the land masses continue to evolve slowly and quite rapidly throughout a matter of years and months or days, months, whatever, continuously shake and shake and shake, continues further apart. It could have been like that, could have not been. I don't know. I didn't study enough to plate tectonics, but the fact is that it happened. And I'm going to go back to this here, is that in almost every thing I have seen in school growing up, let's talk about the Vikings. The Vikings. Where everybody, when I was growing up, oh, those are just legends and story tales and children's story. Vikings weren't actually a thing, they didn't really exist. But then later on, as I'm growing up, I'm learning that the world around me is becoming more educated, and they're starting to realize that yes, they actually did exist, but then they were called something else and quite entirely different. They learn the truth of it. I am most of my I have a lot of Irish, Scottish, and English on my side of the family. So I delved into a lot of things of that particular type of culture to learn from there as well. The thing here is this: is that people are people are all over the world where they are because of the very first earthquake. The Indians in America, they were here already well in advance. Okay, some of them probably died off, but the fact is that some of them are already, many of them were already here. You have a lot of history that was built up with National Geographic and Nova and whatever. They're talking about how the Eskimos or whatever, how people came into the Americas from the Bering Strait or whatever that is from that landmass over there by from Russia, between Russia and Alaska. There's this landmass that people would have crossed over during a certain time of year or whatever, and it's the possibilities of that. But the fact is they don't look back into the history. Okay, science has already proven Pangea existed. Pangea was the one mass land conglomerate that existed. They've already proven that, but the many scriptures throughout the entire world prove that as well. So it actually was a thing. Okay, dinosaurs weren't exactly something that were false. We discovered the bones; those things were real, but yet people still insist on, oh, they weren't real, they were fake because they could never see anything like that in real life. But yet they were there. They're legitimately discovered. Okay. Now here's the problem. We forget where we come from. We forget where we come from because we only look ahead. What bothers me right now, is that the economy is so shot that I can barely get by. By the time I pay the bills and pull my weight here at the house, I barely have anything else to go on. It's like I'm just giving my money away. I don't see much of it back. This country was founded on a principle of freedom to get away from religion. Right? This is based on that principle, where it comes from the days of Christopher Columbus, and they were religious oppression, basically. Okay, but yeah, here's what it didn't really do anything. It followed you. Okay, and now we're looking at a whole nother thing where the world is only proving that somebody was intelligent enough to give people warning. This is what you're going to be facing if you don't get your head out of your ass. What am I talking about? I'm talking a lot of different things at once. I'm all over the place. I usually am when I'm talking like this. But I woke up, decided that I was going to make this YouTube video because I was going to talk about things that are bothering me in the political world. Right? I'm aggravated because I see some old fucker in a government seat, but yet it doesn't even look like he has the mind to run the country. I don't know if because he comes from old money that he just is getting away with it, or if it's because maybe he just isn't that good. I don't know what it is, but this guy that we have in office now does not belong in office. He never has belonged in office. Okay. And I know people I know that people have said about this, that, and the other thing. Honestly, to be perfectly honest with you, when it comes down to the world of politics, I fucking hate politics. Okay? And I can't speak on everybody else, but I can speak for myself. The only reason why I'm anti government in this country is because of the division that has been caused by this country. I don't care about your political division. I don't give a shit if you're a Republican or a Democrat or a liberal or a conservative. Uh, Honestly, I could give two shits about any of that. At the end of the day, I only see one thing. I see a human being that lives in the same country that I do. That's what I see. I don't give a fuck about your stupid political viewpoints. Okay? I could care less about it. Don't ask me if I am a Republican or a Democrat or a conservative or a liberal or any other thing that would categorize me into a certain way of fucking thinking. Because you're not going to get that kind of answer from me. All you're going to get from me is tell you to fuck off, take your political bullshit somewhere else. At the end of the day, I'm a human being living on a planet Earth. Okay? I'm living on a country that was founded on principles that were trying to get away from oppression, religious oppression, freedoms, civil liberties, but it did not make things any better. It made things worse. When you use the forefront of your country to be based on religion itself. And that was where you went. This country was never designed to be led by division. Before, I'm going to throw something else at you. And this might really think I'm crazy, or you're going to agree with me, or you're going to go get curious and go and do the research and go dig and find the facts for yourself. I'm going to tell you one thing. During the time of Abraham and Benicio, okay. During the time of Abraham, when Ishmael was just now becoming a man, or has been already been a man, Ishmael and Isaac, okay, during those times, okay, when Abraham and Sarah, and we had two sons, one was Isaac, and was it tribe of, was it Jacob? I honestly, I can't remember. But during this particular point in time, in the Holy Lands, as we like to call them, there is a tribe of merchants, okay, and they were basically blacksmiths. They deal with metallurgies and whatnot, and they were on these merchant route that went from Jerusalem to Egypt, and they dealt specifically in the finery details of brass works and whatnot. So, and these were called the people of Lehi. Okay. Now, I learned about this. I became curious because this was something that was only mentioned one time in the Bible. And usually, if you mention it one time in the Bible, it's because there is a key there. There's a key there, and it's meant for you to dig and find where that key goes to. This particular bit of information goes to the people of Lehi. It is a place where Samson had killed a bunch of people with the jawbone of an ass, and called that place Ramoth Lehi. If I remember correctly, I'd have to dig. Matter of fact, let me Google that right now. Let me do that and do some digging. Let me see what I can find. See if we can find that. Was it Ramoth Lehi? Yeah. Okay, so It's called Ramoth Lehi. It's place mentioned in the Bible. The book of Judges relates to that Lehi was the site of an encampment by. I'm looking at the Wikipedia, actually. Look at that. Let's take a look at that. I don't know if you can see it or not, but let's take a look at that. Let's see. Can we do a display after? Yeah, let's do that. Okay. Let's minimize this down here. Right. Okay. Down here. Okay, so it's in the book of Judges, it's Lehi, the site of encampment of the Philistine enemy in subsequent engagement of Israel leader Samson, yes. Where he used the jawbone of a donkey or an ass as a club and killed the Philistines there. Right? This is real world history. They even got a statue over there. Cool. That's real world history there. Okay. Ramoth Lehi. That's what they called the place, right? Now, we're going to. I want to dig. We're going to dig. Well, we might dig a little bit more. We're going to go ahead and do this. Lehi, right? Let's see what we find here. Look at here. I actually have something called Lehi. A Nephite. This goes through the Book of Mormon, right? But that's not what I want to bring your attention to. Jacobites. In Book of Mormon. Let's see. Okay, so the Jacobites. If I could show you an image, like I know there's an image. Where's there an image? I'd have to do some real digging, but there is an image. There is an image of that I found in there's an image that I found in their religious text. There's an image of painting, and it had the picture of someone wearing a horned helmet, and the horned helmet, mind you, looked exactly like a Viking helmet, right? And so I was like, whoa, that was when I seen that picture. Whoa, and it's like that's why I started digging. Like, where do these people come from? Right? I want to know more about these people here. Who are they? Oh, this from the tribe of Jacob, right? Whatever. It's like, so I dig and dig and dig, and when my suspicions were correct, as I found out that these particular people were from the group of people that split off and had to go north from the time of the Tower of Babel in the earth from the very first earthquake, right? So that's where the Vikings came was originally during that point, and they all went north. This was also during a time where you would imagine that the Garden of Eden or paradise or whatever from any religious text when it got split up was pulled apart to many different places, right? When you are in a particular point in time and you think about humanity, where they come from, where did they mess up? Think about that. And then take a look at the way things are around you. We are doing the exact same thing that we have been doing ever since that time in Tower of Babel. Okay. Diversity is the problem. You can't force unity. Unity is the problem. You can't force unification. You can't force utopia. It has to naturally occur. We will always be a diverse people because we will always have a diverse way of thinking and have a diverse way of being. We will always have different cultures. That is not something that is ever going to change. That's who we are as part of being human. But the problem is when you start making yourself look like you are better than somebody else when you're not. I'm almost, I mean, I don't like being the poor man on the totem at the very bottom. I'm not going to lie, it's not fun. But at the same time, I'm almost kind of glad at the same time because I don't have to worry about things way up high and having to worry look down on everybody else being unhappy. You know, we're not happy. Most of us, some people like my parents, I mean, they're not happy, but they're also not arguing. They're also not trying to say anything about it. They're just going to accept it. Oh, we're expecting. We knew it was going to happen. We're at the end times, you know. The seals have been opened. We know about the white horse in Revelation. We know that the white horse in Revelation is the Catholic Church, and that's something I don't even want to get into any of that stuff honestly because I mean, for the longest of time, people have been trying to explain things in Revelations for the longest time. It's the reason why things are forbidden to people because you can't understand it. And that's where a lot of problems come from. But, you know, it doesn't take rocket scientists to step outside the box and take a look at what's going on with the world around them. People have even said that the whore of Babylon is Queen Elizabeth, believe it or not. But yet, I stop and I take a look at all the things that, you know, that she may or may not have done in our country, whatever. It's like, I don't know. I don't know. All I know is one thing. I know my environment is affected because of the crap that the government is doing. My personal opinion. The type of person that I want to see in office is the type of person that does not judge other people because of their political viewpoints. Whether you're a Republican or a Democrat or a liberal or whatever it is your viewpoint politically, okay, I'd like to see somebody that would go into office that calls this division of government garbage and wants to embrace more of a humanitarian concept. Well, even then, but embrace a concept that wants to toss out these ideologies of what you are, categorizing of what you are around the country, you know, is something that we need to do away with. I understand the reason for taxes. You know, taxes have become a thing that many hate because when they look back in history where taxes were formed, the way they look at it is that we would not have taxes if we did not have to bow to them. Right? Because the whole thing of taxes was no taxation without representation. The next thing you know, we have a president in the United States. Hey, presentation, there you go. Now you can get taxed. So we wondered, do some of our, and then I think at a point in time where, you know, the taxes now go to the United States instead of go anywhere else, but I don't know. That goes too deep for me. But what I do know is that I think the taxes need to be referred to as something else. I think it needs to be referred to something else because we need to look at taxes as it's meant for the purposes and benefit of the community as the country to help people, you know, in situations that they would normally otherwise not be able to do. It needs to be used to help prepare things. You know, there's so much has been built up, but the problem is that what I have to understand is that the United States giving out so much money to other countries, right? And you know, owing other countries' money, I don't know how that even happens. Honestly, I'm kind of baffled by that one. I have no idea how that is happening. Whatever is causing that, owing other countries money, needs to end. There needs to be no more of that owing other countries money. That's bullshit. Every country on this planet needs and should be self-sustaining. There is no reason in this world why we cannot be that. The technology is there for us to use. The problem that is preventing us from having free electricity, for example, is because of greed. Can you imagine if, you know, Tesla was successful in his ventures to give everybody in the United States free electricity forever and not having to pay for anything? Can you imagine that? Yeah, the electric companies that were involved during that particular point in time when this was even becoming a thing to come to the rise is it's a real shame. We're said a lot where greed ruled the country. You know, I would very, very much like to see, you know, I would very much like to see the electric companies be done with. I would like to see the Tesla Corporation. I would like to see the free electricity thing for everybody. But at the same time, who has to repair the machines that provide the free electricity if there's no finances coming in for it? There's a thing. So I can understand why something like that would not necessarily be feasible. Now here's the thing: the solar energy push here lately. Um, the electric grid that we are currently on is below standard. It is under par. Oh my God. I'm gonna not bullshit you here. As a dog and go piss on the damn telephone electric pole outside or one of them conduits outside or whatever. And where a transformer is and the electric grid for the entire neighborhood could go out. That's our joke around here because a simple thunderstorm could cause the lights to flicker around here. That's how bad the electric grid is. By the way, we're in LaPorte area of Texas. If you're wondering where the problem with electricity is, fix it. So many leaned over poles, and it's pathetic. And some of these poles have been leaned over, almost looks like they might fall on the road at any strong wind given moment. If another hurricane was to come through, it's almost as if you're waiting for it to actually break before you actually fix it. You know, it's really bad. The behavior and the mentality behind some of these corporations that you give your money to so that you have electricity, so that you have water, and these sort of things. It's really sickening, you know, to see that. I want a president that is in this country that doesn't just play the part of being a representative of this country, but plays the part of the voice of the people, but listens to the people, does not listen to division, does not listen to superiority thinking. Because this is where our problem is. Old money. Old money runs this country. This is where they say money talks, bullshit walks. Well, for once in a life, I'd like to see bullshit run the front. But something that has a better smell than the cow dung in your backyard. I would like. I'm not gonna lie, okay? I'm not a fan of all the money being in any government office. I mean, I didn't have a thing against Trump, honestly, and no different than anybody else. I mean, he had his problems in the past, and I guess he found a way to get out, fix it, whatever. I don't know. We have a lot of buildings that have been put up because of old money that just sit there because they don't want to get rid of it, because they want somebody to buy it off of them. I'm tired of seeing that. I'm tired of seeing that all the time. This country needs to be repaired. It needs to be repaired in a way that does not have some superiority mindset or complex that makes it points fingers at people or anything like that. We need to think about the real thing. What is it that people need? We need money. Okay? We need money, and we need to be more self-sustaining for this country. We need a country to be more self-sustaining. We rely too much on the outside world to get the things that we need, instead of thinking about ways to where we can be more self-sustaining and making it beneficial for everybody in this country. We need to think about the safety and sanctity of this country. Okay? We are in times and bad times, and no thanks to, honestly, sorry, but no thanks to the past 5 presidents that we've had. I'm not gonna lie. These have been nothing but, it's almost like every since I've been alive, every president that we've had has been a seal that has been broken open. Okay, looking at it like that. Okay. That's how I look at it. And I can almost imagine the next president, we're gonna have World War IV. It's gonna be this acclaimed, there's gonna be this war from the Bible that talks about Armageddon. Going to be a real bad war with a third of the population of the continent. And there's going to be a real bad war. And what's going to happen? Take a look at it. Okay? A third of the population of this country dying. Now, that's either going to be here in the North America, South America, or it's going to be over there in the Holy Land. It could quite possibly be that happens. Because here's what's going on. In the Holy Land area, you've had that war going on there well past 2,000 years, buddy. Well past that. And all these different countries getting their little grubby hands, paws on it because of politics or business or whatever on the side, because they want to try to be influencers of what's going on over there, to supposedly try to change things for the better. It's not working, mind you, but it's been going on for 2,000 years. And it's all over a fucking birthright. Okay? That's what it is. It's over land. It's been going on for 2,000 plus years. I can guarantee you, everybody that lives that is native over there, okay, has forgotten about what they're really fighting for. They're going to say, oh, we're fighting because of this, we're fighting because of that, we're fighting because of this. But the root cause is what they've forgotten about. And if they stop and think about it, okay, they've received their blessings on both sides. Their birth rates on both sides have been. What happens was that somebody decided that wasn't enough. They wanted that. They don't want this, they want that. Because it was monetary, it was physical property, physical land. They don't realize how big of a nation they have all throughout the world, on both sides. Seriously. You take everybody on both sides and bring them together in one facility, you won't have enough ground space. Everybody that is either on one side of the war or the other. There, you cannot fill the land space there. That is how. That I would think that's how many people are there. Now, you think about this for a moment. We're in a particular time of war. Look at the problems going on over the Middle East. Think about that. Think about that. Think about everybody that's getting involved over there. Okay? Every country getting the greedy little fingers involved in something. Think about that. Everybody in this world needs to step out of that. Step out of that and get away from it as far as you can. And here's why. Because the more you get yourself involved in this 2,000 plus year family feud, which is essentially what it really is, you're only going to make things worse, and you're going to be the problem for causing a third of the world's people die. And I'm going to bet my bottom dollar that it's probably going to be from a nuclear explosion. Because somebody is going to be having, I got my trigger freaking ready because, hey, you know what? I heard this threat, and what's probably going to happen is that some asshole is going to get so itchy about it, they'll push the button, a fucking bomb will come over, and they'll fucking hit somebody, and then it's going to be a chain. We've seen these fucking war movies over and over and over again. Over and over and over again. Guys, let's not make the movies a reality, not on something like this, okay? Let's not do it. Please. I highly encourage the Taliban people, those that are denizens and native to that part of the country. I highly encourage you to stop, think about your own past and your own history. Step outside the box a little bit and look at every religious text that you can find. Study for yourself and see where you come from. Let these people go. Let the American government take their people peacefully, without reproach, without getting involved. Let them go. Let them go, let them leave peacefully. Don't demand time from them. Because at the end of the day, a plane can only fill so many people, and there are only so many planes that can go into the sky, honestly. I mean, the runway where people get onto a plane, even boats, will only fill so many people at once. And you got to think about the amount of time it takes to fly over the ocean and come back to get the next lot. They need time. And they need to be able to have the fuel to do so. Think about that. You guys are fighting a family feud. And the more you get other people involved, the worse things are going to get. And you guys will be the root cause. The root cause for the cataclysm. I'm asking everyone to stop while you can. Stop while you can. Step back. Get away from it. Houston is not as great a place as people as advertised. The news is very quite clear about that. But you'll see these advertisements for city advertisements and beautification, how great of a place it is, right? All these fake ass smiles that you've seen, but it's really not that great. Homelessness is pretty bad over there. Downtown Houston is not that great a place. There are places within this little bubble, safety from homelessness factor, but they're there everywhere you go. I, for a long time, was homeless for like 2 or 3 years myself. I was there. I know. I've seen what it's like. I've lived it. Nobody cares about you. You have to care for yourself, and you have to find a way to survive. You have to go through religious programs and homeless centers just to try to find a way to make ends meet, or just by chance get lucky to have family that will be there for you to pick you up and get you back on track. Think about that. I went through a religious program. I went through it. It was too controlling. I had an opportunity to where, I could have, done something for myself. Eventually, I saved up enough money to get away from there and buy a rental house and everything like that. Got a job, ended up getting a job in a hotel, and then I ended up, eventually at some point in time getting tired of dealing with bed bugs and said, I'm tired of dealing with this shit. Let me come move back home. So I moved back home. Now I'm here. Living on a disability because I can't physically work anymore, and this is what my job is, personally. And this is my first one doing it for YouTube after a very long time because I was just getting into it and studying it and learning about it. I have a lot of work to do still. I am nowhere near the zone that I should be of being a proper broadcast content creator. Nowhere near I should be. I'm doing this all myself. I don't have a team. I don't have any volunteers. None of them. Myself. And most of us do. But, I don't have the knowledge and know how to be doing a lot of things that I would like to do. But I like to thank those that allow me to do this. My coffee cup again. I'm proud of this coffee cup. I'm not gonna lie, check it out. Oh, damn, I gotta flip my screen. Hang on. Hang on. Flip. There we go. Hey, there we go. Check it out. There's my coffee cup. It's my channel logo. A wolf in front of a moon. MTV at the moon. MTV says remark color TV for those of you who weren't able to think about them. So yeah, it is a thing. What are we gonna do with this country? I wish, honestly, there was something more than I can do, but this is all I've got. This is all I can do. I'll probably be doing more of these down the road, and probably, speak on bullet points or whatever. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I mean, honestly, things have got to get better in this country. This movement, this I'm going to talk about BLM for a moment. The things that is occurring because of BLM, which has to do with the changing of education system and what people learn, okay, is probably no different than when Babylon went into Jerusalem and destroyed every cuneiform and family text of history and knowledge and melted every brass plate that there was of family histories when they destroyed Jerusalem the first time. It's no different of a council form of movement of history of people than what we're doing now. We're repeating the exact same thing that has been done, thousands of years before. We're doing the exact same thing now. Things like these, things like this need to stop. Because in the end, what's going to happen is I don't even want to think about it. I don't even want to think about it. But everyone needs to stop the violence. The violence has to stop. The the understanding that people have a moral right to live a certain way, to be a certain way, needs to be respected. I have a really bad gut feeling that things are going to be really bad in Texas, and it's going to be too late to change it. And I have a really bad feeling about that. I'm almost tempted to try to find a way to save money and move north towards the Utah area and whatnot. But I somewhere over there, but I don't know how I would be able to do that. I don't have the money. I don't have the funds. I don't have any, contacts or anybody that I could live with over there to get, back to where I'm doing this. I don't, not got nothing going on. I'm really concerned about the future moving forward because of the crap that is taking place in the political world. People don't pay attention to politics. They don't pay attention to the social media. Okay, they could be in a world of delusion and thinking everything's fine and not even realize that what's really wrong out there. But when you step outside that box and you're growing up and you see these things, you see a different world. You see the truth. It's terrifying, to say the least. I wish that I could have talks like this and in a different light. But sadly, the way things are going in this world right now, I don't think so. All we can do is cross our fingers and hope things will change for the better. But my gut tells me that the world is going down a dark path. It's too late to turn from it. There's going to be very few of us that might make it out of this.